Welcome back. Joining me now is Republican Congressman Don Bacon of Nebraska. Thank you so much for joining us, Congressman. Really appreciate it. All right. Well, you are back there in the House. A vote set for tonight to reopen the government. You are a yes. Do you think there are enough votes to pass this?
I think so, but I'm not taking it for granted. I mean, I'm shocked that Leader Jeffries is whipping against this. I think 5 weeks of shutdown is enough. 1.4 million federal employees not getting paid, 42 million folks being affected by SNAP, not being paid out, and our airline travels, being weakened and frayed. So we should reopen government, and I have been committed to negotiating on these ACA tax credits. I'm on legislation. I propose bipartisan ways to get us to an agreement in the middle on these tax credits. But shutting the government down is the wrong answer. It's the wrong answer every time. And I hope we have the votes tonight. I think, we have 3 different appropriations bills, so that probably puts 1 or 2 Republicans at risk in there. So I think we're going to do it, but it's going to be tight.
You are saying you are committed to making sure that these Obamacare subsidies are extended, but do you have a sense that leadership is committed? Speaker Johnson has not committed yet to putting a bill on the floor that would extend these health care subsidies.
Well, let me start off with on the Senate side. Leader Thune has said he wants to have income caps, and he wants to ensure all these tax credits go directly to individuals' premiums to reduce their premiums. That's what my bipartisan framework does, and the bill that I'm on with a Democrat, Sam Liccardo. I also haven't heard the same level of detail from Speaker Johnson, but he's made it clear that he wants to find an agreement on the tax credits, but I'm sure it will not be just a clean extension of these tax credits. But I think I've offered a way on this that most Republicans will support and most Democrats. And I know the majority of Republicans want to support something to stop the premium increases that we're going to see on January 1st. And so I'm offered a way out, and I think most Republicans will support it.
Well, let me ask you, because Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries has a plan. He says he's going to force a vote through a discharge petition. It would be on a 3-year extension of the health care subsidies. Is that something you would support, Congressman?
I believe that's dead on arrival. That's saying my way or the highway. First of all, these tax credits were put in by all Democrat votes on a single Republican vote in 2021. I'm listening to our side. We are willing to do these tax credits, but we want to cap the income. Why should someone getting $600,000 a year get these tax credits? So we're going to cap it at $200,000. That's our plan. And right now, a third of this money doesn't even go to individuals' premiums. And so we want to make sure that this money goes directly to help premiums out. So I will not support the Hakeem Jeffries my way or the highway bill, but I'm willing to meet in the middle. And I have Democrats already on our framework. I'm on a Democrat bill that does exactly what I'm proposing.
Yeah.
You got to meet in the middle on this. To say that's my way or the highway, it just don't work in Congress.
Congressman, have you discussed your proposal with the House Speaker, and has he made any type of commitments or guarantees to you that he will put it on the House floor? Because, again, he has not said he's going to put an extension of these health care subsidies on the floor.
I have not talked to him one-on-one, and I don't think he's going to put the Hakeem Jeffries bill voluntarily on the floor or what the Democrats want to push in the Senate. I do believe he'll support a bipartisan way forward, and he's going to count on the appropriations chairman, my good friend Tom Cole, and the Democrat minority ranking member, and they're going to have to work this out and put this stuff in the appropriations bill. And the vast majority of Republicans want something done. I believe the Speaker will respond to that. I mean, I've talked to a lot of my colleagues on the Republican side. They do not want to see premiums skyrocket either. So this is a shared concern, but we're not going to do the Democrat plan 100% verbatim without our input.
Do you think that it was a mistake for Speaker Johnson to not commit to put health care subsidies on the House floor, given that polls show a majority of Americans want to see those subsidies extended?
Well, okay, they want to see subsidies extended. Do they want to have subsidies extended for people earning $600,000? I think they want something done here that will lower, for the majority of Americans, their health care costs. I'm committed to doing that. I think Speaker Johnson Well, he should commit himself to finding a bipartisan agreement and doing it. I think that would be the commitment. A bipartisan plan, not Hakeem Jeffries' plan, but a bipartisan plan to do it. But I also think there's another area that we're concerned about. The Affordable Care Act is so expensive now that there needs to be some reforms made and something to look at. But we're not going to do this by December 31st. So I do encourage the Speaker, find a bipartisan plan, buy us a year or two, and let's look at how we can lower the cost of health care beyond, into next year, the following year. But we're not going to be able to do that by December 31st.
All right, Congressman, let me turn to the other big story today, of course, the release of some more of the documents related to Jeffrey Epstein, initially by House Democrats today, including an email where Epstein said President Trump, quote, knew about the girls. What was your reaction to that document and the others?
Well, we've always known there was a friendship there, but at some point they had a falling out. So bottom line is, I'm for transparency. I would like to point out to your viewers, the Oversight Committee provided thousands and thousands of pages today. The process is working, right? The Oversight Committee, Republican and Democrats, are churning out this information. They have subpoenas out there. I do think it's working. Now, there's been all this talk about the discharge petition. Even if we pass it out of the House, it's got to pass the Senate, and the president's going to sign it or veto it, and that's going to take a while. The Oversight Committee is getting the job done now, and I'm for total transparency. I don't care who's on it. I don't care if it's Republican, Democrat. It should be public. Let's just protect the victims' names. The victims deserve protection. Other than that, total transparency.
So you support releasing all of the documents, including the documents that DOJ has access to, in the name of transparency. So would you support? Okay. Let me ask you.
If this bill comes on the floor, I'm going to vote yes on it. And there's some reasons why I did not sign the discharge petition, but they're going to get their 218th signature today. But that aside, that bill will come on the floor. I will vote yes.
Okay. Let me ask you to respond to White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt. She called this whole thing a, quote, manufactured hoax by the Democratic Party. But you yourself are calling for transparency. Others of your Republican colleagues are. In fact, a lot of the MAGA base is calling for transparency here. Do you agree with Caroline Leavitt that this is a hoax?
You know, the White House made a glaring public relations failure here, mistake. As you know, the Attorney General, and I think she does a good job in many areas, but she really made a mistake here. Months and months ago, she said she has all the names, all the clients of Epstein, and all the people that were breaking the law with these underage women, and she was going to release them. And then a little while later, says, oops, there is none. That was a failure. That was a mistake. They shot themselves in the foot. So because of those announcements, I think they will have to release everything and just make it public. And we're going to let the chips fall where they fall. Anybody that was involved will have their name out. Maybe they just had dinner with Epstein. Well, they can say that. Maybe they were breaking the law with underage women. But they'll have to answer to the public on that or face, the judicial system. But yeah. I think open transparency right now is the only way forward on this.
Congressman, very quickly before I let you go, there's apparently a provision in the House bill that would allow senators to sue the government if their electronic records are obtained without their knowledge. You just heard my prior guest, Madeline Dean, talking about that. There's also a sense that Johnson might try to have that stripped. What is your sense? Will that provision be in the final bill?
I don't know. I think it was a mistake to put it in there. We got to get the government open. It's better to keep all of this nefarious stuff out. Let's do the 3 appropriations bills. Let's do the CR through January 31st. Those other 3 bills through September 30th. That should have been the focus. Let's pay our federal workers. I wish they would not have put that in the Senate side. That said, I'm going to vote to keep the government open. I think it was a mistake to have that part in there. But I don't want to go another day not paying our federal employees. I don't want to stop SNAP. And I want to get our airline travel back to normal and safe.
All right. We'll be watching closely throughout the night. Congressman Don Bacon, thanks so much for joining us on a really busy day for the House. We appreciate it. Coming up next, why President Trump is facing pushback from some of his own allies over his latest comments on H-1B visas. The panel's next. Keep it right here on Meet the Press Now.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.